The logistics of moving billions of dollars in military equipment. Ever since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the USA has actively been sending military aid, such as small arms, rocket launchers, and more recently, tanks. The United States has donated more to Ukraine's war than all other countries combined. This has allowed Ukrainians not only to stop Russian forces, but also to push them back with stunning counteroffensives. As of early March, around $47 billion has been spent by the USA, but when it comes to sending these billions of dollars in military hardware and equipment, the USA faces many challenges. Even though the US has the largest airlift capability in the world, moving millions of tons of equipment is no easy feat. Throughout history, logistics has been the biggest nightmare for every military. From Napoleon to the modern Russian army, everyone has had to face the nightmare that is logistics. The most recent example is the famous Russian Kyiv convoy, which was a large column of Russian military vehicles stretching some 64 kilometers or 40 miles. As Army General John J. Pershing once said, "Infantry wins battles, logistics wins wars," which holds true to this day. But what is logistics? While the term logistics can encompass several different meanings, in essence, it has to do with having the right thing at the right place at the right time. In recent times, the US and its NATO allies have pledged billions of dollars in military equipment to Ukraine, which includes the shipment of 31 M1 Abrams tanks, 32 Leopard 2 tanks, 14 Challenger 2 tanks, and more than 60 Bradley APCs. But getting the supplies to Ukrainian forces is a challenge in itself. Heavy equipment such as MTB and APC takes much more time to make combat ready and to ship than your usual small firearms. Not to mention there needs to be many spare parts shipped with these tanks. Before Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine, the US and NATO allies could deliver equipment via air or land directly to military depots. But Ukrainian sky is now dominated by Russian fighter jets or long-range ground-to-air missiles. Not to mention many Ukrainian airfields have also been either destroyed or unusable by missile strikes. As a result, current deliveries have no choice but to move in more covert convoys through the EU territory, most likely from Poland, which shares a 535-kilometer border with Ukraine and has been the main destination for any and every aid sent to Ukraine. How the US deals with its own logistics issues around the world. Even though supplying weapons to Ukraine faces multiple obstacles and transportation issues, when it comes to the US military, they face way fewer issues than supplying Ukraine. In order to project power and supply fighting forces in days rather than weeks in a rapid war theater, the U.S. Army has stashed thousands of vehicles, weapons, and general supplies in 7 separate Army pre-positioned stocks, or APS. And let me tell you, these stocks are massive. For example, the Army's APS-5, located in the Middle East in Kuwait, can mobilize an entire armored brigade combat team within 96 hours, which is about 5,000 personnel with an astounding 302 vehicles. The Navy, on the other hand, whose role in a conflict is more expeditionary, has leaned heavily into the flexibility afforded by prepositioning through floating stockpiles. The Navy's prepositioning program is all about being closest to potential conflict zones and readiness. Their 14 maritime prepositioning shops are spread across 3 squadrons in the Mediterranean, the Indian Ocean, and the Western Pacific. Like the Army, the Navy relies on large, medium-speed, roll-on, roll-off ships. Their main objective is to simplify unloading large, oversized vehicles and unloading in ports with limited infrastructure. And these squadrons are designed to supply and sustain a Marine Expeditionary Brigade for 30 days, which is no small task considering its size as a 17,000-person unit with ground, sea, and air capabilities. In a service that's built around rapid response, this maritime prepositioning force is able to mobilize at a moment's notice and provide supplies and operational support to amphibious units already on the ground, while also kitting out Marines and sailors being flown in from around the world. Prepositioning is incredibly valuable to the Air Force, Army, and Navy for its ability to position each in remote battlefields quicker than any other country in the world. The Air Force's Advanced Basic Expeditionary Airfield Resources, aka BEAR program, is another example of how the U.S. military prepares for transport and logistics constraints on the day a full war breaks out. The present mobility concept is to rapidly deploy a force, complete with shelters and support facilities, capable of independently supporting and launching sustained combat operations within the same independence as fixed theater installations. The nucleus of the bare base infrastructure centers around the enhanced version of earlier mobile base packages now known as Harvest Eagle and Harvest Falcon. All facilities and equipment within the packages are designed to minimize weight, maximize modular design, and be C-130 transportable. Some shelters are hardwall and serve as their own shipping containers. Some hardware items interface with weapon systems, while others are concerned with transportation, housing, messing, aircraft maintenance, airfield lighting, power, water, sewage, heating, cooling, medical, and civil engineering needs. By design, these packages have everything necessary to support a deployed force in the most austere environments. Now, you might be wondering, with so many pre-positioned supplies, why can't the US simply give them to Ukraine? I mean, it would be much easier and faster to do, right? The answer is no. What you have to take into consideration is that pre-positioned supplies are there for the US forces located in that specific region, and the pledged equipment also might not be present on these bases. So the supplies that Ukraine receives and will receive from the USA come solely from the mainland USA. For example, millions of artillery shells and many armored vehicles such as M1 Abrams and Bradley are not with the latest technology which the US Army uses. These are mainly getting pulled out of storage. And of course, this will all help Ukraine's spring offensive massively. But moving billions of dollars in military equipment is no easy task. It is trying to figure out how to get all these armored vehicles and their parts into Ukraine. But even if it takes time with these modern weapons, Ukraine will be able to launch its counteroffensive in the coming months. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.